Hello, I'm Earl and welcome to Speaking of Everything. I have a very interesting guest with me, and this guest is a politician. You know her, Miss Veronica Jansen-Webster. How you doing?
Hi, Mr. Gibbs.
It's good to have you in the program.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
I know you are running with a new political party, right?
Yes, the URSM,
URSM.
Unified Resilience St. Martin Movement,
Ah.
otherwise UR St. Martin.
You know, it's quite interesting because you all had a convention,
A
few
congress.
Congress a few
Yes.
weeks ago.
Hmm.
I heard a lot of people showed up.
Yes, we were surprised ourselves,
Yeah.
but pleasantly surprised, and we were very happy to have so many people come out
Yeah.
to hear what we had to say as a new party.
So as a new party, it looks like you guys attracted more people than the old parties.
Well, we want to make a difference. So we really want to have people come out and listen to us and make up their mind. Because there are a lot of people who are saying that they don't want to vote anymore. They don't want to vote in the next election.
Yeah.
And we want to encourage everyone to come out and vote. Because that's the only way you'll get a change. If you don't like the way how things are going, come out and vote. Show that you don't like what's happening.
Now, you've had a lot of experience in government, right?
Yes, I've worked in government for more than 17 years now.
Yeah.
And with a break of 4 years when I went to GB.
Yeah.
Yeah, so quite a while.
And I know you was also at one time involved with economic development. What was that?
Yes, I worked in economic affairs,
Yeah.
and there I helped to prepare the economic development plan. We did the economic outlook. This was all in the early 2000s.
Yeah.
The tourism master plan. We also did the carrying capacity study, the airlift maintenance study. So a lot of economic plans and projects I was a part of. And after that, I moved to a special project that was for poverty research, poverty alleviation. And then after that, I moved on to work for various commissioners and ministers after. So I worked like 8 years in a cabinet.
And you were also CEO at GEBE.
And after that, I was COO at GBS for 4 years.
So if you look at the women who are running for political office, who are going to run actually, because
Yeah.
no date has been set yet for the election. It looks like you're the most qualified person there.
Well, I hope people realize that I am qualified. I mean, people are talking about a helicopter view and all of that. I have been in positions where I have had to make crucial decisions.
Right.
Because in my term in GB as COO and being over the distribution and the production of the company, the fleet, the water quality control, security, all of those heavy departments, it was just in the time of Hurricane Irma.
Right.
So I have hands-on knowledge on how to act, not only in a crisis, but just how to make decisions, on your feet. So I think that kind of experience is what we need now in government. But I also have a lot of experience from before and also in GB in how to work on projects, how to work on programs, because I did work for 1 year in the Interior Affairs, and I worked there on the EU projects. So I was able to look at how do you put what they call a fiche together, so a program together for European funding. How do you allocate funding for when there's Dutch funding? Because I also worked with a Dutch funds. So I think if people ask about qualified, yes, I am definitely qualified for an office.
I mean, when you look at what you've done, I can't think of a other lady on the list or any party with that kind of knowledge. And when you look at the airport today, what do you think about the Juliana Airport? I don't want to put you in the spot, but I'm going to ask, based on your background in GB and all other places.
Yeah, I think that there was a cardinal error in the beginning in securing the airport right after the disaster. And that was a difference in GB
Right.
because all three of us directors, we came back as soon as possible and tried to secure, and we got the staff together.
Right.
But it was also planning. We were, I can say, quite ready for the storm. We weren't ready for the impact that we received. Nobody was. But we acted right away and tried to secure what we could, because our stuff was quite damaged and with mold, etc. But what we could salvage, we salvaged, and I think that was missing there. And if I look at how long it's taken, I mean, GB's main office has not been rebuilt either. So I must admit that. However, the bounce back was there. When we left after 4 years, when we left in 2020, we left the place back, at least the capital back to what it was, the cash back to what it was. And we built back the tanks. We even added tanks. So it was... we got it back up. So it's disappointing to see the airport, but I don't know as much about their circumstances.
And I think people don't realize the magnitude of the job you all had at GB after Hurricane Irma.
Yeah.
It was huge.
It was huge. Yeah. It was, I think it was about, 40 million in damages. It was a lot. But it was affecting each and every one in the community. You know, the airport, we needed the airport for the airlift and to get supplies in, etc. But for GB, water and electricity, everybody needed it. And we needed to get back up as soon as possible. And that means you had to get on the ground. And we were there. I was definitely on the ground, being over distribution and production. You know, I felt like I had to be there. I had to show up and help.
And, you know, the thing is that... I think that's the first time that a lady was in that position.
Yes, it was. It was, and it wasn't easy. I had to work on a lot of acceptance from the boys. I think in the end they were convinced that I did understand the network, that a lot of them, they were surprised sometimes. You know, one time a guy walked in with a piston, and I said, "Which engine is that piston from?" And he was like, "Miss Jansen, how do you know that?" But you see, there's this saying that I say, that when others sleep, you know, I'm working. Yeah. So at night, I would be studying. So I did a whole power plant management online course that was very graphic, and they would show me the engine parts, and they would tell you, this is what this is, and this is where it goes, and this is what it does. And you get the whole system mapped out. And then I would go in and I would talk to the power plant manager and also the farmer manager, and I would tell them, you know, don't speak baby language with me, just speak plain so that I can pick it up. And I think that helped. So the online and then hands-on. And I would also go to the mechanics every Wednesday, and they would show me what they were doing, how they were filing down, what they were doing, and I understood it at a given moment. So, yeah, so they were surprised.
You know, it's quite interesting because now you're seeing more and more women involved in politics. Your party is, I think, one of the few that don't have a woman at the head. Dr. Mussolini is head of that party. But how do you feel about women in politics today?
I think that more women should take up a role in politics, because we need a representation. I mean, I get young girls walk up to me and they want, you know, they ask me, like, what did you do? How did you get there? So people are interested. They just need a role model. I saw a young lady up to yesterday, and I said to myself, I have to find her and ask her if she would like to join, because I like outspoken women, and I think that we need more of them.
And I know the guys don't like outspoken.
Yeah, but they just have to get used to us, because we're here, and we're going to speak up.
When you look at Martin today and seeing your vast knowledge and background, so many different areas in government, do you have anything in particular that you say, wow, man, I would really like to see that change?
There's something that I would like really like, that's in my heart right now, and that's education, our education system. I tutor just on my own, most of the time for free. I just like to help children. And I see a lot of children, and I hear from high school teachers that when the children come to high school, they have difficulty reading and writing. And I find that so disappointing. So I would like to see more in education. I would also like to see more different kinds of education. So more in trade, more hands-on, because not everybody is academically inclined, and there's a lot of money to be made in the trades. So I mean, it's not like before. There used to be a stigma if your child didn't do good enough to go academic, they weren't good enough. But if you look at the people who went in trade, who became electricians, they're doing pretty well, you know. So we should, and mechanics, you should be able to fix your own stuff, at least be able to do something, you know. So I would like to see more a shift in that. I would like to see more in education in the Caribbean, but not only education. I think we have so much raw talent in culture and in sports, and I'm not seeing it stimulated enough. And so I really like that aspect there, that I think that is something that we need to fix. I mean, of course, I have a passion for the Vromi areas, the waste to energy project that I worked on so long before. I think it's something that can still happen, the whole reuse and recycle. So there are so many things, really, but if you ask me one thing that I think that will make a difference for our people, and you won't see it in 4 years. But if we start now, you will see the difference in 10 years. You will see a difference in your children if we do something with education, youth, culture, and sports now.
You know, when I asked you that question, you answered education, I was surprised. I was surprised because, you know, this program I started back on the 1st of March 1984. And I think my fourth guest was Minister Jack Ferris, who was then Minister of Education for the Nelson Tillies. And I focused a lot on education over the years. I think we had made some terrible mistakes when it came to education. So I'm happy to hear now, as one of the politicians, that you see that as a very important sector that we really need to look at, because, you know, we have intelligent children.
Very.
But they're treated like they're not intelligent. I think the system, there's a problem in the system.
I believe so. I mean, children learn in different ways, and because I tutor, I see the different children with a different way of thinking coming, and you have to know how to let's say apply that to everyone. I mean, like I said, just like with the power plant management, I actually sit down and I try to study like education things, you know, online, just to learn didactics, etc., and innovations in education, those kind of things, because it just interests me how the mind works and how people learn. Because impossible we can have that many students not excelling to me the way how they can.
Right.
And whereas you will see people from backgrounds who are challenged and they do so well, they excel so well with little tools. And sometimes our children have all the tools available to them and they do not excel, they do not pick it up. And I really think there's a lot more that we can do.
You also briefly mentioned waste to energy.
Yeah.
But I think, what do you think about renewable energy? Because we're at zero still.
Yeah, we're at zero. I know that going into GB, that was one of the things that I wanted to see happen. And I really pushed it. I really pushed renewable energy. I mean, I was asked to speak in Miami on renewable energy because when I spoke at a Carolina conference in Trinidad and Tobago. This was back in 2018. People who were there, they saw me speak, and they requested that I come to Miami to speak. It didn't happen in the end because of certain things in GB, certain rules. So I wasn't allowed to go. But I have, let's say, extensive knowledge on renewable energy as well. What happened to us in GB in that period, 2017 to 20, we were so busy with rebuilding after the hurricane, it was a choice. Either you were going to put the money into rebuilding or you were going to invest into renewable energy. You couldn't do both at that time.
Right.
And with the renewable energy, we just we did not at that time, but just before that, we had the plans and everything ready for a 2 megawatt solar project, and those plans still exist, so they can be carried out. So I'm still surprised that it hasn't been done. At least put the 2 megawatt solar. You know, when you look at other islands, for instance, Sable and Statia,
they're way ahead.
They're way ahead, but they have a smaller amount of megawatt that they have to supply to their community as well. So they can with a smaller system. But I mean, if we want to be on that level, it's a lot of rooftops or land to be able to provide. And I mean, we've done the study. You would only want, in the best case scenario, to have 1/3 of your energy being renewable until you have figured out your inverters and how to balance the energy. Then you could probably top it up. But to start, you wouldn't want more than 1/3.
And it's expensive, and storage is a big issue for many people.
Storage is an issue, but with technology, it's getting easier, and even renewable is getting cheaper. So as we go along, we are getting better technology, and it's becoming more affordable. But it's a choice that has to be made, and it's a turn of thinking for the people in the plant as well. I remember when we brought in the LNG ready engine, the people could not. They had to get used to the idea as well, you know.
And that in itself too is important, because having those type of engines, if you use the right fuel, you have less maintenance.
They're very clean, and we do have the one that is LNG ready down there. It's just that you would have to source the LNG, and then what turns out is because of the shipping, it goes up. The price goes up where it is not as effective, you know, not as much savings. However, if we were to convert more engines, it could make it more efficient.
So see, I know that you mentioned education, but you're not into the building development.
I'm into that too. I must tell you, after GB, I had the opportunity to work for an investment agency, St. Martin Investment Agency, which was a daughter of the APS. Okay. And while working there, we worked on a housing project, because every politician talks about a housing project. I don't want to be cliche. The difference is with the housing project that I have been working on, we worked out how to do it. So in what manner, what type of houses, etc., where to do it. You know, we've been in discussions at the time with the Housing Development Foundation. We worked out how to get it financed. And then we had meetings with the funds, the funding agency that's funding the trust fund. We had meetings with the Vertegenwoordiging Nederland en Philips, so the VNP. We had meetings with NRPB. So we had meetings with everyone. We showed them our plan for the houses. And I remember right after that, I read in the newspaper that the Dutch government gave us 20 million extra for housing. So the funding scheme, everything was there. And we did present to the government in let's do this. But anytime you want to tap into funds, you need to know how to prepare a project. You need to have things prepared. But quickly after that, the investment agency, I moved on. We moved on from there. And I think they discontinued for a while. I know that they are starting back up. So it didn't get off, but the government could have, let's say, continued with it. But it's something, yes, there is a plan, a concrete plan of how houses can be built on St. Martin.
I'll tell you what, I have to go to a quick break.
Okay.
When I come back, I'll ask you about that housing issue. And we have a new generation of people that are facing housing problems.
Yeah.
I think we need to touch on that in case you've just joined us. This is Speaking of Everything. I'm speaking with Ms. Veronica Jansen-Webster. Webster's a big name, Jansen. She's my guest right here. When we come back, we're going to continue to speak with her right here on Speaking of Everything. Please stay with us.
Hey, don't guess about your insurance. Be sure that you're covered. Like with your car, like your home. Be sure to be covered in case of a fire, flood, hurricane, or some other natural disaster. And travel insurance, because you never know what could happen when you're on vacation. You could lose your passport, your luggage, or have an accident. So be sure that you're covered.
Insure yourself fast and easy with Be Sure from the Windward Islands Bank Limited. Visit your preferred WIB branch, WIB Insurance Services, or BeSureStMartin.com. Get your Be Sure insurance at the Windward Islands Bank, your partners in progress.
For real? Somebody came in here and steal my curtains? Well, it's a good thing I'm insured with Be Sure, because even the contents of my apartment are covered. Don't play guessing games with your insurance. Be sure.
Are you be sure? Be sure.
My guest right here on Speaking of Everything on Hot 99.9 FM is Veronica Jansen-Webster, right?
Yes, Webster.
And, you know, it's amazing. I always make jokes at all these big families in St. Martin. And you go all the way back to Anguilla.
To Anguilla,
right?
yes,
Yeah.
Island Harbor.
Yeah,
My father's from Island Harbor.
My mother grandfather was from Anguilla. Can you imagine that?
Yes.
How the Caribbean works?
Yes, that's
amazing.
That's how we were, yeah.
But you was telling me about that project in housing. And I had some young people on the show recently. Everyone is worried about how they're going to be able to afford a house, how they can get a house. That project you just mentioned.
Yeah.
It's a good example to help young people.
Yes. We have looked, I mean, the trust fund, I saw it in the newspaper that there was 20 million added for housing. If you take that 20 million and then, let's say, I know that APS already invested in housing, so maybe even if they would not want to do such a big part of it, you still have Vida Nova, for instance, and I know that they were interested. I saw news that they were interested in housing. So there's a possibility where you match the funding, and there you could build houses and you build mixed use. You build towers. You could you build single houses. So you build mixed use. So you have houses for returning students, more, let's say, apartments. You have for the middle class. You have more, you have just mixed use, all the different pricing, and you could then do rent and you can do some for sale. And that way you put a whole project together, and that's what we did. And people think that there's no land to build projects, but there are different landowners who have their land, let's say, available. And so once you have a whole project like that, you do a private-public partnership with them, and we could build houses. And I mean, we even spoke to external banks who were interested. One gentleman said, we spoke to him, and he said, I can match your 20 million, just give me a plan. Don't come and talk to me if you don't have a plan. You know, so these things are existing, and we could work them out. But it takes time, though. It's not something that is going to be ready right away. And I think that sometimes stop people from taking this route with funding. But with funding, I've seen it before. I mean, when we started our project was right after the hurricane in 2017. We started our project in GB. The first trench only started, I think, in the end of 2021.
It takes time sometimes, huh?
It takes some time. and it's a back and forth, and you have to have it perfect for them, and that's what will happen with this housing as well. But you have to start. You have to start with the project and get it going.
So the political party that you're a member of, the URSM.
URSM.
Right. You all have most of the candidates already ready to go?
We have 20 candidates signed up now already, so we still have space. So again, like I said, I saw a young lady. If there's anyone who still is interested, they can always contact the board. They can contact any of the candidates. We have candidates already. Yes.
And you're a board member?
I'm a board member as well.
Yeah.
Yes.
So you're happy with the way things are going in terms of the party?
Definitely.
Yeah.
Because Dr. Marcelina is a type of leader where he's trying to empower all of us. He doesn't want us to come out there and let's say we don't know about things. We have had meetings with, for instance, the SER. We've had meetings with the Integrity Chamber. So you learn about what those organizations do, the Ombudsman. So we get to come together once every 2 weeks. And so it's a movement, we sit down and we talk. How do we want to fix this? How do we want to fix that? And not everybody agrees. So then you get that kind of a debate already amongst each other. And then you come to a standpoint of, okay, this is how we want to move forward.
If everybody agrees, then you got a problem.
Yeah, exactly. I don't like to be around people who agree with me all the time. No. That's what is good about it. And no, it's refreshing to see.
Yeah.
And recently we've been in Simpson Bay just for a town hall where we can hear from the residents.
Yeah.
And when you hear our candidates speak, that was the first time that they spoke. I mean, everyone spoke well. Everyone, was relaxed, and that it was impressive to see.
So where we go from here with the party?
Well, from now on, we will be going to the public because when we make our manifesto, we want to have concrete points,
right,
and that people can hold us accountable for executing these points once elected. So in order to get these points, we are going to the community and we are finding out from them, what is it that you would like us to work on? So it's not going to be some fabricated document, St. Martin is a Caribbean island in the sea, and then a whole bunch of rhetoric. No, we want concrete points and come with these things. You hold us accountable. Hold us accountable, because we are there for the people. And I think that's what I liked about this party, that we wanted a party who will hear the people, who will listen to them. And I mean, it's not a gimmick, it's not rhetoric, it's come and talk to us and we will try to be your voice.
Well, Mr. Jansen-Webster, we out of time. 30 seconds, all yours in closing.
Thank you very much for having me. Please pay attention to the URSM, pay attention to the candidates, and pay attention to whatever I, Veronica Jansen-Webster, I am bringing forward. And if you like what you're hearing, please, on election day, vote for me.
All right, I want to thank you and wish you much success.
Thank you.
I see you're one of the most knowledgeable persons running for this parliamentary election, and hope you all are successful. All right?
Thank you.
Right. And that's it for now. See you next time right here on Speaking of Everything on Hot 99.9 FM radio. See you next time. But listen to me next time. So see me and hear me right here at Hot 99, and also be on Facebook and YouTube. Take care. Bye.